Welcome back, Knicks fans. Before we get started, please like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. So let me give you guys a few seconds to just take the time to hit the subscribe button and also to like this video and hit the notification bell, please. Really appreciate it. What I wanted to do today is go back and revisit the analysis we did for the Donovan Mitchell trade, how to value Donovan Mitchell in the unprotected trade market, unprotected picks market. And so essentially, it seems like we were pretty spot on. The analysis was pretty spot on. Essentially, what we did, we gathered, we went back and looked at all the basically all the star players that were moved going back to 2017. And then we looked at their stats, their PIE, and then we compared their PIE to the number of unprotected picks they went for. And then this is what we plotted it. We plotted it in this bar chart here. And so essentially, this is the unprotected picks trade market for star players, right? And so that's pretty much what we have here. We figured that basically because from the looks of it, if you look here, all the players with PIE between 15.3 and 12.5, they all went for basically two unprotected, between one unprotected and two unprotected. None of them went for over two unprotected, right? And so as we see the report that came out today, the Knicks offer basically made a serious offer, which is two unprotected picks, three protected picks, plus Obi Toppin. I really think the Knicks are actually, I think that's a great deal for the Jazz. I think, honestly, a lot of the Jazz fans, because they have Danny Ainge, and they feel emboldened because of the trade for Rudy Gobert. But that trade was stupid and nonsense, honestly. Because if you look back, if you basically go and look back at the trade market for stars over the last, going back to 2017, even if you go further back, they actually went for less. And we'll talk about that a little bit, right? And so it's if you look at this here, it pretty much shows that he commands at the most two unprotected. But like I said, the Knicks are sending two unprotected, three protected picks, which were actually those protected picks were only protected to the teens, and so those were actually gonna. It's possible they may convey. They may actually be able to make that pick, use those protected picks in the future. Plus Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is a very good, bright young player that has a very high ceiling. And so that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot that the Knicks are actually offered that they're making. And so it's really interesting to see this was their first offer. Honestly, in my opinion, I'm a little, I'm a little down because of it. Excuse me. Sorry, I had hiccups. I wasn't crying. I had hiccups. But so it was a little disappointing to see that they're willing to give up Obi Toppin. I felt he was basically out of their young guys, he was the best, the one with the highest ceiling. Obviously, because he's got all the tools. He's got the athleticism. He's got the efficiency numbers are there. And so it's disappointing that it seems like he's included in his trade talk and in the offer that they put out there. It's unfortunate. Hopefully it doesn't happen, and he doesn't go. If the trade does happen, I hope they send someone else. If it doesn't happen, I'll be happy as well, because obviously the problem here is the Utah Jazz, and you can hear it even from their media. Look, a lot of their media people that talk over there, they're so emboldened. They're big fans over there. They love their basketball team, which is great, which is cool and everything. But these guys are, I don't know what world they're living in. It's like these people are, I mean, they're acting like they've been smoking crack the last 5 years because it's crazy. Yes, you guys were able to rip off one team, but it doesn't mean this is going to be the trade market for all your players going forward. Donovan Mitchell does not command four unprotected picks. He just does not. And so and the Knicks should not give the Utah Jazz four unprotected picks for Donovan Mitchell. What they're offering to the offer that was put out there today, it's way too much for Donovan Mitchell. If you look at basically what has happened over the last, if you look at what's happened over the last 5 to 7 years, right? So I'm not even sure why the Knicks uh, gave up as much, trying to give up that much, which I get it. Those protected picks, I think the Knicks gathered it, by being smart, playing the draft well. So I can get being willing to just kind of throw away those protected picks. However, Obi Toppin, that's just unfortunate, and I really hope that it doesn't happen. This is a negotiation, so it doesn't mean that that is a done deal and Obi Toppin is going to be in this deal by no means, right? And so the other thing that came out was there was a talk about R.J. Barrett and possibly the willingness to trade R.J. Barrett if Utah Jazz wanted him in exchange for less unprotected picks, and and so there's and so it's kind of crazy that's out there. I'm not sure how true it is. However, for me with players, right, it's um, sometimes I'm wrong. Some people are able to see talent before it actually gets there. But for me, I need to see something solid. I need to see something concrete. And so that's what sometimes it drives me crazy when people think Obi Toppin is no good and he's a bust. I mean, he Obi Toppin shows you concrete evidence, like, that he's a good basketball player. You can see the athleticism. He's faster than most people on a court. You see that, right? The other thing, he's very agile. He's very skilled around the basket. He can finish in very different ways around the basket through traffic. You see that in the games, right? The other thing, you can see the field goal percentage for Obi Toppin. You can see the field goal percentage, especially the field goal percentage, especially given the fact that they stick this kid he's not used to just sitting at the 3-point line, but you have to imagine and think about the fact that Obi Toppin, that's not his game, but they leave him out there at the 3-point line all the time, and yet he's still shooting 52 or 53% from the field. That is the biggest. That and his athleticism, the combination of both of those tells you you have a player that could be really good in this league, right? That's how I see Obi Toppin. But then you have someone like a R.J. Barrett. So R.J. Barrett, he's got some really good skills, right? He's like a Swiss Army knife, I guess. He can do a lot of different things. He can make plays for you. Um, he has the ability to get to the basket at ease. But the problem with R.J. Barrett, because you don't know if he's going to really reach his potential. I still believe him. I like R.J. Barrett. I'm glad we drafted him. I don't think there was much of a choice. I felt like he was the best pick there. I still feel that he was the best pick there. However, you can't ignore the fact that RJ is wildly inefficient. And when you're that inefficient and supposedly he's going to be your first or second option, you're going to be losing a lot of ball games if you're second, if your first option, because you got to imagine it's not just R.J. Barrett, it's also Julius Randle. Your first and your second option are shooting 40% from the field, and then they're averaging, to make it worse, see, the part they don't understand, right, is the fact that, yes, they're shooting 40% from the field, but they're averaging 20 points a game doing it. That's where it kills the team. Now, if they're averaging 10 points per game, on 40% shooting, yeah, it'll make them look way worse, but it wouldn't hurt the team as much because at least at that point, you're basically spreading the ball out. Hopefully, the team is getting the ball to more efficient finishers on the team. And so, but that's the whole thing about I didn't mean to get too far off tangent there, but basically, the whole point is, uh, for me, it's in terms of RJ Barrett, the fact that he came up in his talks and their willingness to just trade him, supposedly. I don't know if it's true. However, it's the reason why I think that is you need evidence, right? You got to be able to see this. And I have a feeling if this is talked about, if this is true, I bet you it's coming from the analytics department, Brock Allers' team. Um, because look, I'm not like those guys. I kind of watch the game and I see there's a lot of good things about RJ Barrett there. I see a lot of talent there, but again, it's just the efficiency is just so low, so bad. You couple that with like his lack of athleticism, then you don't even know if he's going to ever be able to get there, right? And so, but I do think this is probably, if this is true, it's definitely coming from the analytics team. And that's why they're putting it out there. That's why it got out there. And, but it's hard, right? You got to be able to show this is going to be RJ's fourth season. He's played 3 seasons in the NBA. First season, he didn't shoot very well. Second season, he shot well, shot about 44%. For a second season player, that was actually good. And it was good to see that improvement. Then in his third season, he took a big step back, Yeah, he averaged 20 points per game, but he shot 40% from the field. Like, it wasn't even like close to 41%. It was 40%. So that was a big step backwards. And so you want to be able to see it, right? You want to be able to see the fact, like how can you measure? Can you tell me, like, given the measurements you have right now, can you project this guy to be an all-star? And unfortunately, you can't do that with RJ Barrett, right? You just can't because like the athleticism is not really there. He's a great playmaker, right? He's a good playmaker, not a great player. He's a good playmaker. He get to the basket, but it doesn't do you any good if you can't finish once you get to the basket. And I love, look, and a lot of fans, the RJ Barrett fans, and I'm a fan of RJ Barrett too, but we like to make excuses for him, like because he's a young player, and so it's okay for him to shoot 40% from the field. Look, I'm not saying he can never improve. I hope he improves, and I think he will improve the efficiency. But honestly, it's just it's like there's a lot of other young players that's basically a lot of other young players where people think may be stars in the future or all stars in the future. They're not shooting 40%. They're shooting like 44 or 45%. They're showing you, they're showing through their measurements, through their stats that like, okay, they're projecting to be an all star in the future. So I think that's why that if that is true, I think that's why RJ came up in the talks. Again, I hope that's not the case. I really hope they don't. They don't have any plans on trading RJ, and I don't think they should put it out there. In my opinion, I think it's really bad business to put out there. But I don't think I don't think it's true because it's bad business to just put it out there, right, and just kind of let it hang. And so then the other thing about RJ, everyone talks about how much of a hard worker he is. Um, you know, look, I mean, I'm not a professional basketball player, so I don't know what it takes to be able to get a jump shot. But RJ doesn't even have a mid-range pull-up game. He shoots around league average, about 35%, actually a little less than league average from three. And you would like to see him shoot a little more, better from three. And so I think he definitely needs a lot of work, right? And so I think that's why that came up. But going back to this whole Donovan Mitchell trade offer that came out today, well, it kind of looks like we're pretty much the analysis was pretty spot on, and so we also said that basically, yeah, the offer it should be about 2 unprotected, but you can see the New York Knicks basically going to 3 unprotected. However, it may not even be 3 unprotected. They can offer that Milwaukee protected pick for 2025. That's protected only 1, 2, 3. That's as good as an unprotected pick for the New York Knicks, right? And so they should treat that as an unprotected pick. And if that's one of the picks that's protected picks that's included, you don't need to offer anymore. And honestly, if you're offering that pick too, in this trade, they need to take Obi Toppin off the table. You got to offer someone else. And honestly, if this deal doesn't have, if the done right for the basically the 2 unprotected and that like with the 3 protected, but including that Milwaukee that's protected 1, 2, 3. If they can't get it done with that, I think they just need to walk away because at that point they're getting fleeced, and they're basically it's just not that worth it. It's Donovan Mitchell is a very good player. However, there's no need to uh, basically cripple yourself, like in the future, because basically you're desperate and you really want to get this player that does have a very good command of the offense. However, is not extremely productive. He's not one of the more productive players in the league in terms of like if you talk about top, if you talk about like basically you're talking about like MVP candidates. He's not. He's not. He's not even. He's not even up there. So uh, doing three on, I think three unprotected would be quite a bit. I could see that happening. However, I think this is more than enough. The other thing I wanted to say, I think I put on my Twitter page that no player um, with a with a PIE of 13.5 have returned more than two have returned two or more unprotected picks. I was wrong about that. I meant to say three unprotected picks, and so that's why two unprotected seems to be about right for Donovan Mitchell again. So let me know what you guys think, man. Please like, subscribe, comment below. I'll be more than happy to respond.